doesn't sell those because in Japan gasoline is higher, and the Japanese don't buy those. See, so naturally the market dictates what the companies have to produce in order to sell.
Right. Now, I just bought a Toyota Highlander, a 2006, and it's highly, highly rated in reliability. That was the reason I bought it. I want to drive it another 100, 150.
Your point being, there's a lot of other factors other than fuel efficiency that drive the decision to buy a vehicle.
Right, and we're getting beat now. Here's what I think. I think we're getting beat on reliability and cost effectiveness because of the union problem. I think that's more the root cause of their business problems, not fuel efficiency. I'm not going to concede that they have better design engineers, but I think they have better manufacturing, engineering, and tooling and workmanship because they are not constrained by these kind of artificial job classifications and all these terrible restrictions on how you structure your workforce, your hourly workforce.
I think your point is well taken. I think that the basic fact is that the United Auto Workers have been trying to kill domestic automakers for several decades now, and it's very similar to what they were doing in Europe. Anytime you have an atmosphere where the auto workers have a monopoly on the product, domestic product, and there's not foreign competition, then the automakers push. The unions will push their advantage because they have a monopoly on labor in that industry, and they did for several decades. And then the foreign competition comes in, and they're not restricted by those kind of labor rules. And of course, they're going to take market share away from the captured domestic automakers.
Yeah, and they very well have. They've been able to set up plants here in the U.S., non-union plants, and their rates, their effective hourly rates are. I think I read they were about $73 an hour compared to $44 an hour.
You remember Saturn? It was they called it an experiment. General Motors set up a non-union factory division in southern states, very similar to what they were doing with Honda, or what Honda was doing, a non-union small car, economic car. It was very successful, and for years the laborers, the workers in those factories voted non-union, and Saturn was a big success, and they voted union, and a few years later they canceled Saturn. So I mean, that's the way it is. The union just tends to kill its host.
Yeah, and okay. Now here's another aberration. Where the government gets involved and they think they're fixing it, but actually they're breaking it. Now, if he passes these, if apparently they can do this by fiat and by the CAFE law passed in the 70s, but would forcing a complete retooling of the industry in order to make these different, and I won't say complete, to be fair, it's not going to be a complete retooling. They're going to mostly retool the power plant to make these kind of wimpy, lighter cars. How's that going to rescue the industry when it's already on the edge of bankruptcy and being taken over and nationalized?
Of course, it's not going to rescue the industry, and it's just arrogance on the part of the politicians to think that they can run a car company better than car company executives can, and they're going to run that company into the ground, and then they're going to heavily subsidize us with taxpayer tax money, your money and my money, and they're going to pour that into that industry because now it's a matter of pride of the politicians that they have to succeed, and so it's just going to be. You can see it coming. It's not hard. This is the same pattern that is repeated in all the socialist countries in Europe, especially talk about Fiat. Italy was the same way. The government in Italy has been propping up Fiat for years. A lot of the French, with a Peugeot, they did the same thing. I mean, we're just going down the same path.
Right. It's not, and this kind of gets to my final point, is that it's not about optimizing the productivity of the industry and the quality of the of the product by ingenuity. They're going to do it by subsidy because they believe first they believe they can create jobs, that they can.
Yeah, well.
Now the quality of the job and the product is.
That's it's hard to know where the rhetoric actually stops and where the actual belief system starts. But that's what they always like to say. They're going to create jobs.
Yeah, so the whole improve fuel efficiency to protect the earth argument I think is a ruse. It's a scam invented to cover the real intention to regulate all energy-intensive industries and, as a bonus, nationalize the car companies. So now that they're half nationalized already, how do they think they can compete under direction by these hacks? I mean, this new GM CEO is talking. He could say no ill about the government intervention and their. And he said, no, they're not helping me make decisions, when we know that they have just fired the last CEO.
It's very disturbing that General Motors has come out in favor of these CAFE standards after so many years, I should say decades, of opposing them. And now all of a sudden we've got this corporate, subsidized corporation, I would say, that changes their tune 180 degrees, and now they're all in favor of more regulation on their own industry. The question I would have is, do they really know what they're doing? Are they sane? Are they capable? Why would they encourage more regulation into their own industry like this? The article in the New York Times, which was favorable to the CAFE standard, made it sound like it was rational because California has more severe standards, and the federal standards would then make those same standards, California standards, universal throughout the country. So theoretically, the costs of complying with this or that state would be were eliminated because they'd be uniform. So the cost of applying satisfying one standard would be cheaper than satisfying 50 standards. You can see that. So that's how they were rationalizing that General Motors was in favor of this national standard. However, it seems to me that they should be in favor of abolishing the CAFE standards in the first place. Why in the world would you want to have this kind of burden placed upon your industry?
Yeah, it's just pure Stockholm syndrome. Their captors, they have to be nice to them because they know that